Welcome to Wise Words, where I'm sharing the couch here with lovely wise women. What do I mean by wise women? I mean women who are sharing their why, their passion and their wisdom. And today I am with an amazing woman. I've known her for a couple of years now. She just does incredible work out in the workplace and also in people's lives. So please introduce yourself.
Hello, I'm Rachael and I'm a Tissue Viability Educator and Trainer, specialising in pressure ulcer prevention and wound management.
Brilliant. So thank you, Rachael, for joining me here today. I know you've got probably 300 years of experience that you could share with us today. But just in terms of what you do, you said a Tissue
Viability Nurse Specialist.
Yeah.
Well,
What does that,
recently retired,
Yeah.
but now I'm forming my own business to set up an education and training business to help others, particularly healthcare organisations, to educate their staff on the dangers of pressure ulcers.
Brilliant.
In their patients and clients.
Yeah. And why is that important for you to do that? What was the reason why you started to do this work in the first place?
Well, given that pressure ulcers are a hidden problem, then I think it's really important that this issue is made prominent in the public and that awareness is raised, because it's estimated that over 700,000 people suffer from pressure ulcers.
Wow.
In the UK, and also it's estimated that between 4 and 10% of patients that are admitted to hospital suffer from a pressure ulcer. So they're not necessarily admitted to hospital with a pressure ulcer, but it might be that they've been admitted for something else and they just happen to have a pressure ulcer. So it's really important that this issue is made more prominent.
Yeah, brilliant. And so you were doing this in the NHS already.
Yeah.
And I know you understand why it's such a big issue. And then you went in hospital. I heard you speaking recently saying that you went in hospital and you sort of had this situation where you were like, oh my gosh, I need to do what I'm teaching to other people. What was that all about? Yes.
So I was on the other side, really. I was on the receiving end of care in the hospital, and I was recovering from major abdominal surgery. And when I came round, I was lying in the bed, and I was aware that my heels were feeling quite sore, and it was feeling sore elsewhere. And it's probably because I've been in theatre on my back for quite a few hours, and I realised that soreness. If something wasn't done, then I could get a pressure ulcer. And I knew what to do because I was a health professional myself. So I took action to try and relieve my own pressure by putting a pillow in my side.
Yeah. And so it's really just about information then, because
Yes,
it wasn't anything major that you needed to do. But if you hadn't have known, it's kind of that saying, isn't it? If you don't know what you don't know, you don't know it, right? And so you also shared on that day about a patient that you were looking after, because obviously we think about a pressure ulcer and we think it's a bit like a blister or it's something that's a bit not a big issue really, and yet you shared a story about a gentleman that you followed over a number of years, didn't you? Do you want to briefly share to the viewers what happened there?
Well, this gentleman, when I first met him, he started off with a blister on his toe due to tight footwear. But he wasn't aware of it initially because as he had diabetes, he'd lost sensation in his feet. So it was only when he saw a stain on his sock that he realised there was a wound on his toe. So he went to get help. And the patient went to a podiatrist first, and then he's referred to the Tissue Viability Service. And that's when I first set eyes on this patient. And this wound had broken down. It clearly looked infected. And then over the next few years, that wound deteriorated. He kept getting repeated infections. He had to have his toe amputated, then his foot, and then part of his leg.
Wow.
Yeah, all because of what started off as a simple little blister due to tight footwear, which was rubbing. And because he had diabetes, that made him more prone to infection. So it's very difficult for this wound to heal.
Wow. And it's interesting, isn't it? Because I know on the talk that you did in International Women's Day in Manchester, you started with, head, shoulders, knees and toes.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously you were there to entertain the crowd and educate them at the same time because, maybe people think it's a bit of a, a bit of a weird subject, why do I want to speak about pressure ulcers? But again, it's about to educate people, isn't it?
Yeah.
But you did that. What was the reason for doing that beginning?
It's just to demonstrate to people that you don't only get pressure ulcers on one part of the body, such as the foot or wherever. You could get a pressure ulcer anywhere, particularly on the bony prominences. So I was just demonstrated that you can get pressure ulcers on your ears, your head, back of your head, your elbows, your hips, your knees. If you're an immobile patient that's got contracted legs and is reliant on carers, then you may not be able to relieve your own pressure and you may need help. And it's also to enable people and their carers, if they do have carers, that those are the areas to look out for. When that patient is being turned or they're having personal hygiene care, that it's important for the person that's helping them to look at those areas, and for the patient to speak out as well and take responsibility for informing their carer or member of family that they're feeling quite sore, say in a particular area, say on their heels for instance, so that further help can be obtained, say from the GP or the social services, whoever is in charge of that person's care, if they are getting care from outside sources.
Yeah, great. And I believe that, when you're laughing, you can learn more. So it was a great way to start your presentation.
Yeah.
So it was amazing to see you up there and sharing it.
Yeah.
And yet, at the same time, it is a very serious situation. And so the reason why you've created your new business after retiring from, how long were you in the NHS, did you say?
Over 30
Over
years.
30. It's just getting used to it then, yeah? But now you've started your kind of consultancy and you can go into organisations. What type of organisations is it that you work with?
Well, I'm aiming my education and training at any healthcare establishment, but mainly nursing homes, residential homes, care homes, the NHS, anywhere where the staff may come across people who are at risk of pressure ulcers, people with chronic health conditions, for instance, or people who've got mobility problems, because I've got so much information to share. I've got so much advice to give, and I'd like to be able to improve people's education and help them to deliver the best quality of care possible in their organisation. So I'm happy for any healthcare establishment to approach me and find out more. Yeah,
brilliant. Because obviously that means that there's not one of their members of staff doing the training. You come in, do the training.
Yeah.
It helps everybody. It helps the situation. They get educated, but then obviously you would leave and then go somewhere else. So you're kind of like flexible and moving around these organisations. Is that right? Yeah.
Yeah. So I cover the Greater Manchester area, Merseyside, Lancashire, Cheshire. So I'm happy to travel to those areas and also do online training as well. But I think face-to-face training is particularly good because then you can involve the audience.
Yeah. Although you might not get them to do head, shoulders, knees and toes on this occasion.
You never know. Fun.
Yeah, exactly, great. So do you want to share, Rachel, how people can get in touch with you and how these care homes and these organisations can reach you? Yeah.
So if you'd like to get in touch and know more about my business, Pressure Ulcer Learning, and organise training for your staff, then I can be reached on Facebook. It's called Pressure Ulcer Learning, and also my website, pressureulcerlearning.com. I've also got an email address as well. So if you visit either the Facebook page or the website, then you can get in touch with me.
Yeah, brilliant. And we'll pop the links below this interview. And of course, if you want to see Rachel's video and her presentation from International Women's Day in Manchester this year, then we'll also put the link to that so you can have a look at what she talks about. She's amazing, incredible. And thank you so much, Rachel, for sharing your wisdom, not only with us today, but also, throughout that 30 years and helping people, to live healthier lives. So thank you so much.
Nice to chat with you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.